What is good, YouTube? WarStew here. If you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the videos. It really helps the channel out, so please subscribe, turn notifications on, comment, check us out on Instagram at WarStew if you want to see the face behind the voice. Also check us out on Twitter, WarStewG, because we have like 3 followers there. So as you read on the title, Spider-Man No Way Home, ending explained, post-credit scene explained, full spoiler review. Don't worry, I'm going to give you a warning before I talk spoilers, but I did warn you. And also, it is worth saying that you can't really review, you can't critique this movie without going on about what you're on about in context. Now, I did consider doing a non-spoiler review. That is on Twitter and my Instagram stories, if I remember to put it over there. But realistically, you cannot critique this movie without peddling around it, without talking spoilers. So, careful spoilers, guys. We're going to get right into this video. So, the biggest question that people want to know, is Tobey and Andrew in this movie? Yes, they are. Did WarStew say a year ago they were in the movie? Yes. Will these people that said, I'm going to come back to your video on the 17th of December when it comes out in the United States and be like, yo, WarStew, you were, oh, right, they were in the movie. So, as I kept saying, Tobey and Andrew are in this movie. That's neither here or there. It doesn't take away from the main vocal point of Tom Holland. This is very much a Tom Holland, Peter Parker driven story throughout. Even though we've got crazy performances from Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe, still, Tom Holland's performance is absolutely insane. Zendaya, I'm English, so if I say Zendaya, that is how you say it. She freaking slayed. She's a freaking queen. Right. So, Tobey and Andrew, awesome. Very awesome. They both suit up. Andrew comes through with the suit on. Tobey's in normal clothes to try and trick you that he's not going to suit up at all. But it's really interesting how they actually come through. So how they come through is, this is the scene, get for spoilers, or full spoilers, after Aunt May has been killed from Green Goblin. Essentially, she drops her, with great power comes great responsibility. OG Uncle Ben line, and Tobey and Andrew are like, yeah, our Uncle Ben said that line. Fantastic that there's so many subtle references, Easter eggs. We're going to do that in a different video once we've watched it a few times. So how they come through is Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Tom Holland, essentially does math, traps Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension, in the mirror world. And Ned ends up with the ring sling, essentially. And Ned is essentially Doctor Strange. And once Aunt May's being killed, Spider-Man's down and he's done, he's dusted. And what happens is they're like, yo, I want to find Spider-Man. Andrew comes through. They don't believe he's Spider-Man. Same thing with Tobey, same thing. And then they find Tom Holland, Peter 1, and that is how they come through. It's essentially, it is fascinating, guys. It is really fascinating how they're in the movie, but it doesn't take away from Tom Holland's performance at all. So Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3, it did actually get kind of confusing. I would have thought they would give him like better code names. And it's worth saying, just a side note, I watched a few people that got to watch this early, and they were saying there are some crazy moments in this. If you cover these kind of leaks and all these kind of videos on the leaks, that you wouldn't actually see anything that didn't come. I hate to tell you this, guys, everything leaked for this movie before it came out, but that didn't take away anything. Like I say, you can read a plot leak, you can read a script, but that doesn't tell you the tone, the acting, how imaginative they are, the score, etc. So it's worth saying Charlie Cox is in this movie, but the super duper Twitter scoopers were wrong. He was meant to be in a court scene, but he wasn't. He only ended up being in one scene, which is a scene that Don Campier leaked in Peter Parker, Aunt May's living room. So let's break down the rough story for the movie. So movie starts where Far From Home ends. There, everyone finds out who Peter is. It screws up Peter's life, stops MJ, stops Ned getting into MIT. He goes to Strange. He's like, yo, Strange, can you please make everyone forget who I am? Does that, mess the spell up, completely messes the spell up because he wants Ned to know, MJ to know, Aunt May and all these people. Messes the spell up, rips the multiverse open. All the new villains from the other universes come through. Essentially, we've already explained how Tobey and Andrew come through. That's how that happens. Aunt May tries to help Willem Dafoe Green Goblin, but of course, it's the good side and then the bad side comes out. And indirectly, with a pumpkin bomb, Green Goblin kills Aunt May. And then Spider-Man gets a little bit depressed. He gets bigged up by Ned, MJ, and essentially Tobey and Andrew. And then they go to war to not kill the villains, but send them back to their own universes. But it doesn't really make sense because they fix them, they fix Lizard, they fix Sandman, but still, they will die back in their own universe. In my opinion, I still think that will happen. And then essentially, let's go over the end and explain. So essentially, what happens is Green Goblin gets his ass handed to him by Peter. Peter, kicks the living shit into him, and then Tobey stops him. It's like, yo, bro, you can't do that. And this is exactly what I said on my video the other day, Spider-Man No Way Home, the last scene will make you cry. So essentially, Peter has to sacrifice his own life, metaphorically speaking. This is straight from the comic books, where he's like, Doctor Strange is like, I can't stop him coming through. I really wish we would have seen him come through, because who is he on about? We're going to break that down in a different video later in this week or next week. And Peter Parker's like, yeah, do the spell, make everyone forget who I am. And it's really sad. And it actually is really sad. He has to say goodbye to Ned, MJ, even goodbye to Doctor Strange, because the Avengers, because everything he's done up to this point now, only he will know about it. There's a sad scene in the movie where he talks to Happy Hogan, and the Happy doesn't even know who he is, because there's essentially brainwashed anyone that had memories with him as Spider-Man, to the point where he didn't even know who he was as Peter Parker. When they're at Aunt May's gravestone, it's like, oh, how do you know her? How do you know her? And he's like, through Spider-Man. It's like, it's your freaking aunt. You could have said that, bro. And then the saddest scene ever, as we said in the video the other day, I hate to say I'm right. Peter Parker goes to where Zendaya work. Ned's in there. They're having fun. They're like busy friends. He tries to ask her out, fails, walks away, and it's freaking sad. I don't care who you are. That's a sad scene. Now, no actual scene in this movie made me cry, but there was no end of nostalgia. So that's the ending. The movie ends, and Peter Parker is literally by himself, rents a room out, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. That's the end of the movie, and that's essentially the main vocal points. But there's so much nostalgia in this movie that even if you weren't the biggest Tobey or Andrew fan, you will appreciate the little Easter eggs, the little phrases they say. Andrew and Tobey geeking out. Them asking Tobey how the hell his web works because it's not connected to him. It's so freaking cool. So there is 2 post-credit scenes, although not really. Right at the end, 10 minutes after end credit scenes, there is a Doctor Strange 2 teaser trailer. It's essentially a trailer where essentially Doctor Strange says to Wanda, what do you know about the multiverse? So essentially what happens is they messed everything up. That spell messed everything up, and they shattered the multiverse, or at least that's the explanation we get. And essentially a bunch of scenes, we're going to break it down in a different video, but essentially it's just a tease trailer for Doctor Strange 2, but it might be irrelevant because they're currently doing major reshoots for, 6 weeks reshoot, shooting 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, so they could change a lot of the story. But essentially, Strange goes to Wanda, asks for help, and then we get the big reveal. We get the what if situation, the evil Doctor Strange Sanctorium, the evil Doctor Strange, where essentially they try and oppose the villain is the evil Doctor Strange, but I ain't buying it. And the super duper Twitter scoopers were actually wrong again. They were wrong. So there is a Tom Hardy Venom post-credit scene, but it was inferred that Tom Holland Peter Parker was gonna have the Venom symbiote, where essentially Venom is in this bar chatting a lot of shit about the whole, and essentially what happens is a little bit of the Venom symbiote is left in the MCU, implying that Venom is now in the MCU, and Venom and Tom Hardy are transported back to the Sony Spider-Man universe. So essentially they're transported back to their own universe. So essentially there is a Venom symbiote, or a part of the Venom symbiote, in the MCU, and this is foreshadowed when Tobey's like, yeah, I fought an alien, and then Tom Holland Peter Parker's like, yeah, but I fought an alien in space and on Earth. So essentially Tom Holland's Peter Parker has the most experience, but let's be honest, it's quite funny throughout the movie. He's like, well, yeah, I've got experience like this. I fought with the Avengers, and they're like, who is that? Is that a TV show? So guys, there's so many quirky things. I'm trying to keep this video under 20 minutes if I can, because there is so much to talk about. As I said, we do a different video, but I think talking about this movie without talking spoilers is absolute nonsense. So as we said, Willem Dafoe kills it, absolutely kills it. Alfred Molina, you can tell these are theatrical theatre performance because they freaking kill it. They rip the whole pages out. They're not boring. Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina absolutely freaking went for it. Jamie Foxx freaking went for it as well. Zendaya, MJ, so much character development. Jacob, Ned Leeds, aka the new Doctor Strange. Is he gonna be Hobgoblin? I don't know, because he hasn't got the Spider-Man connection now because his memory was washed. So I don't know if that theory, if that logic absolutely makes any sense now because of them doing the Hobgoblin storyline. If they're not best friends, it doesn't make any sense. And there's a line in the movie where Tobey Maguire says, yeah, I had a best friend. He's dead. He tried to freaking kill me. Such a cool. It is such cool. So yeah, that's pretty much the breakdown. It's very vague. As I said, I'm trying to keep this short. So the post-credit scene essentially is Doctor Strange 2 teaser trailer. The other post-credit scene is essentially Venom symbiote. Part of it is left in the MCU. Tom Hardy and Venom go back to the Venomverse. Essentially, ending explained is Tom Holland realizes he has to sacrifice himself let the spell go through properly. That would stop the multiverse from cracking, but it still cracks anyway. And he's like, brainwash everyone, pretty much. Then at the end, it's really sad. He goes to ask Zendaya MJ, and essentially he doesn't have the guts to do it, but they have a cute little conversation. And going forward with Spider-Man 4, it looks like they could easily bring that back or bring Gwen Stacy in if they want to. And that is pretty much the freaking breakdown of the whole movie, guys. I'm trying to keep it short. I don't want to do crazy long videos with this. Just a short bite size. Try and keep it under 15 minutes long. So like always, guys, thank you very much for all the love and support with the Spider-Man No Way Home videos throughout the last year and a half. As I said, Tobey and Andrew over a year ago were in the movie. The evidence is there. I know people like to see, they like to see the visual evidence, but guys, there were no spoilers in the title thumbnail for this video because, as I said, the spoilers are already in the video if you click in. But we've broken down the whole movie in as short space as possible. Generally, I try to script videos like this, but this is me spitballing. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about this movie. I will be doing a more in-depth video either tomorrow or later on this week. So like always, guys, please subscribe to the channel. That'll help me out very much. Comment to help the algorithm. Share to help the algorithm. Check us out on Twitter, WarStewG. Check us out on Instagram, @WarStew. And I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch you later.